Soup store jump scare! Ah! Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today. With me, I have some more RPG horror stories. I got a lot of email submissions, and thank you so much for resubmitting your older stories to the email submissions so I can see them at the top of the list instead of the very bottom. I really do appreciate it. But I'm looking forward to reading some more story submissions because it's really fun getting emails from you guys. For real, I really do mean it. It's actually super fun. I feel really grateful that I have such a lovely community that is willing to submit to me your personal stories for me to read. I'm super grateful for that. Anyway, let's get to these RPG horror stories for today. She wanted attention. He wanted control. We wanted out. Campaign was classic 5e high fantasy. After about 6 sessions, our monk, Zach, asked if his girlfriend, Tina, could join. Said she was really creative and had been waiting to try roleplay. She rolled a tiefling bard named Naira, who introduced herself mid-session by interrupting a tense standoff between our group and a cult lieutenant. She walked into the scene playing a lute and said, "Why fight when we could make our music instead?" The cultist rolled low on insight, so the DM played along. She diffused the fight. We thought, okay, she might be fun. Next session, Naira flirts with every party member, constantly. Our paladin is a 60-year-old ex-conscript with a dead family and chronic leg pain. Naira says, "He's weathered, like a tree with deep roots that I want to press my back against." The table laughs nervously. Tina doesn't. Then she starts describing her outfit every session. Always some variation of corset, soft boots, nothing underneath. We get a weekly monologue about how Naira braids her hair, what perfume she wears, and how she leans into clothes without noticing. Then Zach's character, the monk, starts getting weirdly aggressive. He's suddenly cold to other players, always interrupting them in dialogue. When our druid compliments Naira's harp playing, Zach immediately says, "My character doesn't trust you anymore." Oh no. It got worse. Whenever another player so much as talked to Naira, Zach's character would glare or leave the room. One session, Naira was unconscious after a fight, and a cleric healed her. Tina says Naira wakes up and softly touches his face. Zach immediately says, "I'll punch the cleric." DM says, "Why?" "He touched her. He doesn't get to do that." Whoa, I feel like there's a lot of tension happening between Zach and Naira, particularly I think because Zach doesn't like the fact that Naira as a character is acting a little bit overly flirtatious to the rest of the party members, and Zach is probably kind of like, "Oh, her character's constantly flirting with everybody else, but my character." And on one hand, I kind of understand where he's coming from. Like, if you're playing with a significant other, you kind of want your characters to be like buddy and everything and all that. It doesn't have to be, obviously. Like I know some people from the VR chat RP communities that like play all kinds of characters, and some of them get flirtatious with a lot of other RP characters, but at the end of the day, there's a big difference between flirtatious IRL and flirtatious in roleplay. Flirtatious in roleplay is just for fun and silliness, and shouldn't ever be taken seriously. At the same time, some people do take the characters as if it's like their second life at times, so I completely understand why they can be attached to the characters, but still, I feel like there should be a fine line when you go into like TTRPGs or any kind of roleplay situations, VR chat roleplays or what have you, that RP is not real life, and there should be a great delineation and disconnect between the two. Just because you RP flirt with somebody in character doesn't mean that you're actually doing it in real life. At the same time, some people do use D&D as a pseudo dating mechanism, so it's a big mess, honestly. Let's see how the party handles this situation. IRL, Zach and Tina start bickering in front of us. Tina says, "You're doing this because you're insecure." Zach says, "You're making your character slutty on purpose." Tina, "You said I could play whatever I wanted." Zach, "Not if it's just you being weird with everyone." They go outside to argue for 20 minutes. Well, I mean, looks like they're settling their own stuff about it. It is awkward to have this kind of lovers spat at the table, but you know what? Maybe some of the stuff they're saying is true. Zach is being a little bit insecure and is taking out on the rest of the party members, even though it's in character. And Tina is going a little bit excessive, but I don't know, honestly. I genuinely don't know. I mean, whenever flirting is involved in any way, what usually follows up is, unless people know exactly what's happening, there's usually jealousy, because people can't delineate between what's happening in character and roleplay between what's happening IRL, and that is it's just so difficult. You gotta find the same kind of people that have the same kind of mentality and are just able to vibe together and jive together. If somebody's being very flirtatious in the campaign and everybody else is not being super flirtatious and takes the game a little more seriously and less to just like a way to flirt or RP touch or RP get close to someone and stuff like that, that can be very awkward, because not everybody wants to go into seeking some sort of a romance in no RPG TTRPG, but some games are like that. Some games are very romantic romance heavy or romance specific or romance focused, romancing player characters, romancing NPCs, going for that, maybe romancing the BBG if they really feel like it. So it really depends on the type of campaign you guys are playing, but from what you described, it's just high fantasy with just plainly high fantasy, and for the reception seems generally to be kind of mild from Tina's approaches or roleplay stuff. So I'm gonna just guess these lovers just need to figure this out outside of game and not bring it into a game. We awkwardly sit around. They come back. We try to keep going. Tina now plays Naira completely silent and withdrawn. Describes her as grieving something she can't explain. Sessions ends early. They skip the next week. The DM gets a text. We taking a break. Thanks for letting us try. I think we need to focus on our relationship right now. At least they've been responsible about it and try to make a thing of it before it becomes like a big explosive mess. I mean, it's already pretty messy as is, but I think, yeah, those need a break and figure stuff out and try to not be so insecure about this stuff and kind of get their issues and their stuff figured out before they can bring it into a TTRPG table, because yeah, it just basically would feel really awkward for the rest of the players and stuff. I personally don't mind if somebody gets kind of flirty in character for TTRPGs, as long as everybody knows it's for good fun and it's all in character and not actually IRL. But what ends up happening sometimes is people can't delineate between roleplay and IRL, and they end up catching feelings. Well, there are really no feelings because it's all in character. Just because a character is flirting with it doesn't mean it's actually happening IRL. If, let's say, for example, Mary or Micah were DMing some sort of a session and I get to play as Morrow, and some, let's say, for example, a powerful yet beautiful Fae witch decides to flirt up with Morrow for whatever reason, like, I'm not gonna take it as if like my friends are literally flirting up with me IRL. It's just in character stuff. I'll respond how Morrow would respond, which is mostly going to be a little bit more sourpuss response because it's just how he is. But like at the end of the day, I know it's all for fun and well and good. And even back in VR chat roleplays, if somebody flirted with one of my characters, depends on the situation, sometimes I'll flirt back, but it was all for good fun, and me and the people involved all knew this is all for fun. And even sometimes if it did get a little bit more, let's say, a little more intimate on roleplay, we'll just also be like, yo, is that cool? We're crossing some lines? No, we good? Okay, it's all for fun? Coolio. I think communication is the most important thing when it comes to these sort of situations, and I hope Zach and Tina can communicate through these issues and figure something out for themselves. Anyway, let's get to the next story for today. Problem player sneaks child roleplay fetish into a game. This begins sometimes in 2020. We're all brand new to D&D and start a homebrew game together. We were a paladin, me, barbarian, another different paladin, a rogue, a player I can't recall the class of, and at first a druid. Our subject of the story, we'll call them Alex. Their first character was a druid. We all loved them. They had a childlike personality and naivety to them that fit. They were an awakened animal that was bipedal. Their character retired partway through the campaign by going to magic school. Their next character is where the major issues begin. The child elf ranger. About 16 years old, but a baby in an elf's time span. This player had a slew of problematic behavior. Main character syndrome, wanted a ridiculous amount of items they found on the internet and created a collage list of to ask the DM to give them, trying to befriend and talk to clear villains during active combat, cheating dice rolls outside of game that would leave trash behind at others' host homes, even thought we were always cleaned up at their place, and trash talking the other host homes for having dishes in the sink. A lot I know, but these were here and there things over the course of years that we did talk to them about, and they mostly fixed their behavior accordingly. I got a really weird question that I'm sure some expert out there exists out there in the comments. If you are, thank you so much for helping me with this. Do elves age in the same way as humans do? Because I was under the assumption that dwarves and elves kind of age a little bit slower or mature a little bit slower, so a 16-year-old elf will probably not be like a 16-year-old height or average height or whatever, but probably be more like a child, you know, because they'd age a little bit slower. I think they considered adults in the lifespan at like at least 80. I could be misremembering. At the same time, I don't know. The problem, they were character specific and persistent, include the bad guy friendship quest, reacting to situations in unbelievable immersion breaking way, and inconsistency in character personality. Allow me to explain. They played the character as childlike and naive most of the time, same as the first character, but whenever it would suit them or allow them to pull some of the spotlight onto themselves, primarily when dealing with children and NPCs, they were suddenly mature and had knowledge that would help out the kid and act like an adult figure the kid could rely upon. Once this was done by, I'm not joking, bringing in knowledge of menstruation and telling other PCs to buy pads for the girl, even though that had absolutely nothing to do with what was happening. The girl was just adopted by the group after some of the players killed her alcoholic and neglectful father. I'm sorry, Huh? Whoa. Okay, flashbang. Absolute flashbang. I don't even have the words to react in a moment. Let it simmer in the back of my head. We just gotta keep on reading while I think and process this. The huge red flag that waved in front of us while the cover... Oh my god, I'm immature. They talk about menstruation and talk about a red flag right afterwards. I am so sorry. Listen, this is the writer did it, not me. It's not my fault for noticing something so awkward. The huge red flag that waved in front of us while covered in blazing red flames was when we were in a prison after this player helped get us captured. They were not the sole reason. Another player didn't tell us they had a country hunting them down and were in the area. While in prison, we eventually came up with an escape plan. The player decided to help out and kick things off. They would make a distraction. We were stunned when they described their underage character begin to strip on a table for all to see. Oh, what? No. Check their hard drive, please. This is uncouth. Is that a word? I don't know. This is messed up. No. Check the player's hard drive because they're giving us some kind of PDF file vibes. No, this is not what you do. First of all, if you can avoid having somebody play an underage character, please do so because you never know what kind of weirdo you're dealing with at this point. They're just gonna be like, oh, my underage character just gonna strip in front of the guards. Woohoo, guards! I am a underage elf stripping. Woohoo! That's creepy. That's very creepy. But also, if you're gonna have a player be playing somebody that's underage, maybe just you should be somebody with sensibilities that knows that that's something you should be doing at the table because it's gonna make everybody feel awkward, and then everything is gonna just once you do something like this, there is no going back. You're crossing a line that's clearly a line that should not be crossed. This I feel weird just reading it. Described as she begins stripping that before she should take anything off, the guards, shocked and horrified, stop her and keep her from continuing. Oh, thank you, DM. Thank you. Oh my god, WDM right here. Thank you. Oh my god, I thought I was about to read a very scary sentence. The DM is just gonna continue with this and just awkwardly describe it, but no, the DM saved it. WDM. We escaped the prisoner, but this was the moment we questioned Alex's intentions. Later, they got the character killed by running ahead in dungeon 2 floors, and we were wiped by elementals. A stipulation was set in place for all the future characters. No underage characters. We still played with them because we thought this incident may have brought up a childhood trauma they mentioned in the past. We're all high school friends before starting D&D, so we just told them never again, and that wasn't okay. Alex makes another character that is 18, begrudgingly, but still plays them the same. If your player character is making a character begrudgingly, it's like, oh, can't believe I have to play an of-age character. Yeah, you're kind of making the things awkward because you have your underage character start stripping for the guards as a distraction. You should probably have your hard drives checked just in case. Honestly, like I get it's your friend and everything, but the weirdos exist out there, and sometimes you think you know a person, but then you realize you don't know a person. And that's the scariest part about it. Like, you never know who the person is going to become and what's going to change them, what's going to exactly happen to them, what kind of dark, sick thoughts they just have marinating up in the brain. I don't want to assume that somebody has a bunch of dark, weird thoughts going up and stuff, but like, whenever it's getting weird and people tell you exactly who they are by their actions or words, you should probably believe them. You should probably believe them and be like, this is really awkward. I don't think I want to associate with this individual. If somebody like that did that at my table, yeah, I'll probably very heavily question their motivations and their actions and why they want to do something like this specifically. Thankfully, I don't have that. I have actually a very balanced group of players that are very sensible and really goofy and fun, but at least know when too much is too much and when the messed up is messed up. Okay, let's continue. Something important to know. Our DM, the amazing old Red Cheever, created unique abilities for each PC that would get at certain key levels. He tried to get Alex to talk with him for ideas and collaborate unique skills that kept brushing him off. He came up with a wonderful idea to incorporate the character's prosthetic in a Sekiro Shinobi prosthetic way. It could be switched out with different parts for different purposes. The session after the DM created this, the player would intentionally kill off their character after they were told no about getting one of those items from the collage list. They literally fed themselves to a giant 20-foot tall wolf in a giant forest, ignoring all the DM's warnings. This was like 5 minutes of back and forth, one warning and roleplay of the player trying to play with the aggressive wolves until crunch. The DM lost it. Hours of work down the drain, all because of a no, you can't have that. trying to bet your entire character because, hey DM, I have this collage of magical items. Can I have it, please? Can I? No? Fine then. I'm gonna pout and be a little baby bag bitch and get my character killed because I can have the magical items from this magical collage of items that I have. Like, you could just work out as some sort of a alternate response or alternate items list or alternate collage for you know, between you and the DM, but to completely throw away your character because the DM said, no, you can't have this list of magical items of like 100 something items or however many items, this collage of magical items just on a whim. That feels silly to me. It feels like you're just tossing away a character because, meh, I don't get my way, I'm mad now, I throw my character away, meh. Feels like you're pouting like a child. Oh no. Another rule specific for Alex alone was made. If you purposely kill off your character again, whether through many poor decisions or ignoring warnings, that's it. They would have no more characters. They listened. Their next character was some random druid their group had no connection to and picked up off the side of the road, was somehow needed to add the player this deep in the campaign during an intense arc. The game has gone on hiatus for over a year now, and me and the DM had a baby, and the DM is currently coming up with the final few sessions. Congratulations! These sessions will save or destroy the world depending on the player's success against a god-killing entity. The event that revealed Alex's actions were likely not the result of trauma, but fetish, as one night when we were at their house for a game, they revealed the disturbing truth. DM and I were pregnant at this time. After the session, while cleaning, one of us saw a container full of pacifiers. They asked about it, and Alex said, without hesitation, that they were illegal. Someone else asked what that was, and explained that they enjoy pretending to be a child while with their partner. Ugh. 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 I have no other response other than ugh, and even I don't know what ugh means. I feel ugh. I don't have any other words except just the sound. Ugh. I don't know how to respond to that. Ugh. That's the only thing I have is yuck. I don't know if this is a fetish or not, and maybe this is just like a bedroom fetish. And on one hand, do whatever you want that they like whip out whatever whips and chains and BDSM gear and ball gags and whatever the hell you like to use at the bedroom, but to at least be sensible and hide the kind of stuff there. Especially if you're gonna be doing something like this because yuck. The horror and discomfort felt made the room stifling. We'll hurry to leave after that. We have played a session or two since then. I'll voice my grievance about Alex very vocally after that day. Since so much time has passed, along with their character being irrelevant with having no stakes and only 2 players, sometimes 3, remaining, we decided to just not invite them back when the game starts up again. This is our first real campaign, and it was given one hell of a horror story. Regardless of the last part that was a little bit of a yuck, at the end of the day, you have a player that is fetishizing playing as a child character and is doing some very uncomfortable things like having the minor character, having the underage character stripped to distract the guards and finds nothing wrong with that whatsoever, which is extremely questionable, and it's really a very yuck again. Yuck is the best word I can use. It's not even a word, it's just a sound that I'm making, it's a primal noise I'm making like caveman that just describes how I feel about it. It's very uncomfortable. But also you have a player that has no problem acting out a tantrum just because they don't get the special magical items that they want and will offer their character to just reroll a different character. There's a lot of problem play behavior going on here, and even then, if the entire party is just uncomfortable playing with this Alex individual, I think it's best to just part ways and not have them there. Not just for their behavior at the table, but because their behavior at the table is already more than enough to get them kicked out from most of the tables out there that I would know, which I don't know too many tables, but even then, the kind of behavior they're doing with playing is fetishizing playing a underage character and just killing all their characters because they don't get their way, that's already enough for me to basically be like, no, I'm not having you because this is just too much of a mess. Pacifier thing, the bedroom stuff, yuck, but like at the end of the day, the problem player behavior at the table is still a problem, and therefore you have more than a justifiable reason to remove the problem player from your table and move on without him. Still though, it's extremely disturbing. Honestly, you don't know much about people until you really learn something about them, but really you don't know anything about them until you really learn. And to learn in such weird ways is, I mean, you guys should have just kicked them out as soon as they were like, I begin stripping my underage character. It's like, no, you don't do that. You gotta just get removed from the game instead, because I'm not comfortable running any of this. What's going on here? I don't want to push this. This specific envelope should never be pushed whatsoever, and your hard drives should probably be checked just in case. And with that, that's gonna be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.